Hey guys, it is Tuesday, and I am back in the office, and I missed you guys, but I'm thrilled to be back and excited to talk to you a little bit about where I've been and what's been going on, and how that might play into maybe some homework for later today and tomorrow. So, as many of you know, most of you know, I guess, I was out of town for the last 2 weeks, so the schedule has been kind of wonky at best. I started off the last week of June. I was in Green Bay, Wisconsin for a week working with one of my largest corporate clients up there at their annual sales meeting. And they asked me to come and do some consulting work for them while the conference was going on. So spent a week up there and then flew home. And the very next morning, drove right back where I was and past that up to northern Michigan. Spent a week with my family up there with Denise and with Lily. And really, now is when you're going to chew your bone? Now is when you're going to make all the noise? Okay. Bear with him. But then on Friday, we found ourselves back in my old stomping grounds, my hometown of Rockford, Illinois, where I grew up. And, okay, seriously, dude, now you're disturbing me. Hush. Sorry. So we ended up in Rockford, Illinois, where I spent my high school years, where I grew up. And we were there for a celebration of life of a true superhero, one of the greatest human beings I've ever known, dear friend and an incredible teacher, high school teacher by the name of George Harnish. And George was one of those guys. Number one, he wasn't an academic teacher, right? He was teaching us theater arts. I was part of a program where if you can audition to get in, you can be shipped all the way across town to this one school to be part of the creative and performing arts program. And George happened to run the theater part. And George was one of those guys that saw more than just himself. And it was remarkable. You know, we all loved him. We all appreciated him. We all respected him. But where we all had our little secret George stories about, you know, something he did to help us, something he did to encourage us, to inspire us, to motivate us. This weekend at this celebration of life, we heard real stories from classmates, from students who'd been in his classes for 30 plus odd years or over a 30-year period. And one thing kept coming up, and it was incredible to me. One thing just kept showing up. It was this ability to notice, to see pain. George had this uncanny ability to make us laugh, to bring out the best in us. But he also saw us for who we really were. And for that, I thank him. Nobody else, no other teacher certainly, has ever seen me for who I was. If one of his students, and this again, over 30, 35-year career, if one of his students was having an off day, George noticed it. You know, we might not have noticed it. The classmates might not have noticed it, but George noticed seemingly every time. And when things were particularly bad, he had this sixth sense almost. He would come up to somebody. He would put his hand on their shoulder and ask them to come outside into the hallway with him. And he'd have a conversation with them. I don't remember ever being a part of one of those conversations, but they were always one-on-one. And the stories from this weekend, from Saturday night, over and over and over again, of kids, high school kids, going through some pretty graphic, horrific stuff that kids should not go through. Physical abuse, sexual abuse, starvation, corporal punishment. I mean, just all kinds of stuff. And it wasn't one person. It was over and over and over again. And each time, the story was somehow George knew. And not only did he know, but he took action. He brought me outside. He had a conversation with me. He helped to motivate me. He helped to show me that this isn't the way my life is going to be forever, that I have some power, that I have the ability to change. The amount, the percentage of people who spoke, who said something to the effect of, he saved my life. It's otherworldly. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You can't have seen what I saw this weekend and not have been just mesmerized by these stories and by what he did. And George allowed us to be, not only allowed us, but challenged us to be more, to be who we were, to be unapologetically ourselves. This is a really, really touching story, and Fez chewing on this bone is distracting the hell out of me. I'm sorry, but it's real. George knew he was dying, and so he did some things that only George would do. He invited everybody to come watch him die. That's not what he invited us to do, but he invited us to come say goodbye. He invited us to come and be there, even at the end. When he came home from the hospital for the last time and was in hospice care, he invited us all to come and to say goodbye and to see us one last time. We didn't know it at the time, but George was recording audio as he was fading. And before he left, he recorded, one last piece of video. And it admonished us. It asked us, what are we going to do next? That his legacy didn't have to die along with him, that it wouldn't die along with him because of the lives that he's touched. He didn't say it quite like that. That would be arrogant, I guess, but in his way, it's what he said. He challenged us to do what's next, to help improve the lives of somebody that maybe we don't even know, that maybe we've never seen, maybe we've never met, but to be that voice, to be that one person that says, I see you, I recognize you, I understand, I know you're hurting. I don't know if I can help, but I just want you to know that I see it. And I'm here, and you can change it. You do have control. There are things you can do. And if you want my help, I'll walk you through them. I'll help you. George thought his dying through very, very, very well, very completely. He had some very specific demands of what this celebration of life was going to be last Saturday night. And there were dancers, and there were singers, and there were actors, and there were storytellers. And one after the next, we saw what George had poured into these people. We saw the ability that came out that may not have ever shown. I made a promise to myself, silently watching some of this, that what was next for me was to share his legacy. Not just tell you the story, but to share his legacy. And by that, I mean to challenge you. I want you, each and every one of you, to have the ability to be fully, truly, authentically you. I think in part that comes with that ability to see others, that ability to feel others' pain, that empathy. I've long said, it's not a secret. I tell you about my history, my backstory, how I was homeless shortly after high school, how, I saw the kids out on the street, how that changed my life, how my mission to create 1 million jobs came from that. You guys all know the story about The Rock. And I got to tell you, I don't know. I really don't know if I would have taken things as far as I have since that day without having had contact with George, without having him in my life for those 4 years and beyond. It lasted a lot longer, but you get the point. I don't know the answer. I don't know that I would have had the same response, the same visceral, passionate, oh my God, I've got to do something to help these people, these kids. But I know that I'm a better person for it. I know that I'm a better person for having the ability to be compassionate, the ability to see what others are going through, or to at least recognize that they're going through something. And so the promise that I made to continue his legacy wasn't just about trying to keep my eyes open for people who needed my help. I do that already. I do that every day. I think you guys see it. I think you know it. I hope you know it. I want to encourage you today. I want to motivate you not only to be your authentic self, but more importantly, to find some way to help somebody else. I want you to really, truly look for an opportunity to be George, just for a minute, to do what George would do instinctively, to care about that other person, to ask a question, to put an arm around them and let them know that they're not alone, to offer to help, to encourage, to enlighten. I know that the Acceleration Academy is about you guys growing your businesses. And I'm not typically that woo-woo coach, right? That metaphysical, the secret and all. I mean, that's not my style. I think you guys know that. But this is as woo as I will get. I will tell you this, and I believe this with every fiber of my being. Zig Ziglar once said famously, and has been quoted over and over and over again, as saying that we as individuals can have anything we want in this world if only we help enough other people get what they're after, get what they need, get what they want. And so your homework today is very simple, incredibly important. And I hope you'll see that it ties into being a better business owner. I hope you'll see that it leads to being a better leader, a better manager, a better husband, a better wife, a better child, a better parent. This week's homework is not specifically a business assignment. This week's assignment is to go out there and find one person, find one situation where you maybe never in a million years would have thought to step in, to reach out, to make contact, to speak up. And be George Harnish for them just once. If you can do it more than that, again, I think that there's a legacy there. I think that we can all do more. I think that we can all be better, be more. And I truly believe that ability to understand the emotions of somebody else, to look at things from somebody else's eyes, is an incredibly important lesson for business owners as well. You're going to need to see problems coming before they come. You're going to need to see, hey, something's not right before anybody else. You're going to have to see, hey, my staff, my team, somebody is in crisis, needs help, isn't there. And to build the kind of business that we're trying to build, each one of you, and I'm in my head, I'm picturing each one of you individually. I swear to you, I am. It's like a remember the old Viewmaster? Click, 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 click. There's Lorenzo, there's Azuka, there's Casey, there's Markley, there's Justine. I'm seeing each and every one of you guys becoming better entrepreneurs by practicing compassion, by practicing practicing to be George or a little bit like him. I know you didn't know him, but you would have loved him. Have a great week, you guys. I'll see you Thursday night. Thanks for your patience for the last 2 weeks, for your understanding that, I've been out of pocket, and for your trust, for your faith, for your belief, passion, that together we're going to get where we're going, each and every one of us. I'll leave you with a quote that George used thousands of times, and I had kind of forgotten it until this weekend when I heard it hundreds of times. We can do what I cannot. We can do what I cannot. Let's go do something. Let's go make a difference. Somehow, some way, for somebody. Somebody you've never seen, never met, will never see again. Do something kind. Do something extraordinary. It's not hard. It's not hard. But we've got to get in the habit. That's all I got for you guys. Thanks, and I'll see you on Thursday.